Good morning, everyone. Great to be with you. That's a very indulgent introduction, half of only which is true. So it's interesting, and Chris, the MC, just said the importance of commercial marketing to Mutinex. It's also a passion that I share, although what's really interesting is I find it a really perplexing topic because marketing is commercial, always has been. Yeah. So this phrase and why I have commercial marketing in quotation mark is because I hear it a lot in business, but it does grate me a little bit because marketing is a commercial function and the best marketers are commercial marketers, and in fact, I don't know any others. So I think it would be fair of you to ask, well, what credibility do I have to talk on what it means to be a commercial marketer? So if you'll just indulge me, I'll just give one example from my career that really has set it on a trajectory that it has been on, but was probably a defining moment in terms of my own brand within what was the CUB organisation. So in 2015, I joined the CUB organisation, CUB, the largest brewer in Australia, and I joined as the head of cider, an afterthought to a big beer business. And in 2015, that was 6 years of consistent share decline, where they'd lost 60 percentage points of share. So that's 6,000 basis points. And I came to the organisation and I was given the task of either getting out of cider, I see Maxie there, or turning it around. And I joined in July, and in the alcohol business, summer is the key trading period, really critical. And by the time we got to February of my first sort of stint in the organisation, we were able to look back and we were able to say we'd arrested the share decline, and in fact we're in slight share growth. And the organisation probably didn't believe we could do that. Because marketing, and probably, CUB is known for building some of the most iconic brands ever in the country. But marketing was known as, the big thinkers. It was all about innovation, the big ad. And we didn't do any of that in cider. We simply didn't have time. So we focused on the other levers that drive a commercial result: distribution, price, promo frequency, all of the, what I'd say is the unsexy things at the organisation to deliver a result. Now, I share that with you just to, again, why would you suggest that I've got anything that you want to listen to? But because that, in so many ways, is the grounding of what it takes to give you the freedom to be the best marketer you can be. Because if you can deliver short-term success, my God, does that give you some space to breathe. The first thing short-term success gives you is it covers all sins, yeah? If the number is being delivered, we all know the difference in scrutiny that we get when they're off track, when they're on track. So it covers all your sins. The second thing it then does is it gives you time. It gives you headspace to think about that strategic challenge that your brand or your company has, to think about how you need to evolve your creative, your positioning, whatever it happens to be. It buys you time. And lastly, as a marketer, you can differentiation, distinctiveness, whatever you want to believe, you are a brand as well. And being a strong commercial marketer is part of your brand that can set you apart from your peers to help your career. So, with that, no, I think it broke when Henry dropped it. There we go. So with that, let me talk to you about my top tips, because I do believe this notion of commercial marketing is really about saying, I've got the short term under control, but as we know, marketing is a balancing act. It's about delivering short-term results while fueling the growth of the future. So my top 5 tips. First one, follow the money. Yeah. It is surprising how many marketers don't really know how the company makes money. And if you want a seat at the table, if you want credibility, you need to understand how marketing translates into making more money for the business. The cold hard fact is what I've written there. Until you speak the language of finance, you'll never be seen as a true business leader. And I think the best way to understand how the company makes money is to know your P&L intimately. Yeah? And it's very, very simple. encourage yourself or all your team just to put themselves in the position where money exchanges hands. Yep. Then what happens with that money? Do I need to give some of that money to a retailer because I sold it through them, or did I sell direct to consumer? Yep. How did I get my product there? Did I have to pay freight? Was there a discount that I had in market at that point in time to drive sales? Or is there something that actually sits above that, terms, that I need to consider in terms of how it costs, or the actual net income that my business gets? Then I need to cover my costs. What are my costs? Yeah? You need to know it intimately, because once you can follow that bouncing ball, you get an appreciation for all of the components and the business model in terms of driving revenue and ultimately profitability. Because as a marketer, you have accountability not just for the top line, but for the bottom line. So you need to understand the variable cost of anything that goes into your product. You need to understand the mix implications of selling one product over the other. You need to understand your strength of the product that you have by state and whether that can help drive your profitability. And if nothing else, become an encyclopedia about your P&L. Because if you can quote and facts that you've memorized in different meetings, people will believe that you know your shit. Yeah? All of a sudden, you get credibility because you're quoting numbers. Yeah? It goes a really, really long way. So tip number 1, follow the money. Tip number 2, breadth over depth. Yeah? What people think about our brands is the sum of the parts. Yeah? Where I see it, what it looks like. Yes, the advertising I see. I think price is probably the biggest signal to a consumer that we have about what to think about our product. Yet, a lot of time, people spend their time quite narrow in their careers. Yeah? I'm a specialist, I'm a brand marketer, or I'm an innovator, or different things. But the reality is, you need to understand every single part of the building block that brings a brand to life. Because as I said, it's the sum of the parts, and sometimes in different businesses, not all the parts are equal. Yep. And not all the parts work discreetly. And if you aspire then to being, taking your career to the next level, it also gives you the credibility to understand how you might need to allocate resources against different building blocks, how to prioritise, how to trade off the tensions, how to trade off the short term for the long term. And so again, I would say to you, build breadth, collect experiences, see the whole chessboard to be able to win the game. As marketers, we probably don't want to hear this. But work in sales. I thought about, is this a point on its own, or is this point 1A or point 2A? Yeah, because it's about building breadth and it's about understanding the P&L. But my genuine belief, and don't get me wrong, I grew up and I am a marketer, but do we own the number and the outcome and the result? Do we really? Yes, I'd say we do, we feel it, but you do not feel the same accountability for the outcome and the result as you do if you work in sales. The number is crystal clear. Yep. And what we do as marketers, at the end of the day, needs to translate into a sale. Did I work in sales? Yes. Did I enjoy it? No. Right? But do I appreciate what it gave me in terms of my experiences and career building blocks to be a better marketer? Absolutely. And when I came back into marketing, did I have a better appreciation from what I did in the ivory tower of a head office and what it meant and how it translated to helping drive sales for the company? Absolutely. So work in sales, feel the true weight of accountability. I didn't even share this with Henry before he got up before, but measurement matters. Yeah, it's part of the reason we started down the path with Mutiny back in the day, to try and put some measurement around what we did. Because marketing is not a cost centre, it's a growth engine. Yeah? And everything that we do, we need to be able to justify the return. Yeah, it's very, very, I've been in many, many conversations. The results under pressure, we need to cut your marketing budget. Which parts are we going to cut? My response is, the result is under pressure. You cut my marketing budget, the result is under more pressure. Yeah? We have now matured in our business to a point where I'm now having conversations with the executive about the effectiveness of our marketing, to the point where I'm actually putting opportunities into our forecast to say, actually, I think I can be more effective with my marketing. It's worth $10 million. This is the brands that I'm going to spend it on in these states over this time period. Put it into the forecast. Yeah? Now, don't get me wrong. Sometimes when the results are under pressure and they say, oh, we can't afford that, they don't ever take it out of the forecast, right? But as Henry said, we're on a journey. Yeah? And our journey has been a number of years, but we are finally now getting stickiness with this tool, with the growth that marketing provides, so that I can defend what it is that we're doing, not just with passion and creative passion, but with hard data and facts. Now, are the facts coming out of the tool absolutely 110% accurate? No, we're still learning. Yeah, we're still working with the Mutinex team about different ways we think we can improve the model to get us a better understanding of what drives the result. Because in a lot of times, I think about the phrase from an ex-manager used to say, marketing is logic and magic. Yeah? Imagine a world where logic could be defined for you. Yeah? What to spend, where to spend it. We could discreetly define the impact of having distribution over the impact of price, over the impact of our media and our advertising. And then they're building the tool that says AI, just put in, well, what do I want to achieve? And it'll tell me where to spend my money, on what brands, over what time frame, and so forth. So measurement matters. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it. And then the last one is just around a behavioural trait that I think all marketers innately have, is that they're very, very curious. Because number one, we're curious about people at the end of the day. Yep. And they're changing all the time. I see it in my own kids. They are changing all the time. Technology is changing all the time. The algorithm is changing all the time. Yeah? So give yourself credit for being here today, because you've already shown a sense of curiosity to come, to hear, to learn about what is changing and how you might be able to take some of that back into your own day job and take it forward. Because what you're trying to do is let the data set you free. Yep, you're trying to understand as much as you can, but at a point in time, you need to make a bit of a leap and put it into practice, and only you can decide at the end of the day what the right thing to do. So if knowledge is power, then curiosity is the muscle. So there it is. My top five. When I put it into some slides, and I put this up on slide, I looked back and I said, wow, does that really inspire? It's pretty simple. Yeah? Or will it resonate? But I think as marketers, that's our job. To simplify the complex. Yeah? Data will help us do that. But in everything we do, we need to simplify. We sometimes try to make it all very, very complicated. Yeah? The insight, the positioning, we tweak for the nuance of the word and the meaning. But at the end of the day, people don't think about our brands that much. Do they? So I think in a lot of times we overthink it, and therefore I think our challenges as marketers always, how can we simplify it to its very core, get down to what matters, because when we understand how marketing works, we can help use marketing to drive commercial growth and more money. Thank you for your time.